Americans are largely split on which groups of children they think should automatically become citizens, according to a new YouGov survey. The survey, released Friday, includes 51% of respondents who support the view that all children born in the U.S. should automatically become citizens. Meanwhile, 39% of respondents align with the view that children born in the U.S. should automatically become citizens only if their parents are citizens, and another 9% said they are not sure. The results reveal a slight partisan divide. Those who say all children born in the U.S. should become citizens include 76% of Democrats, 54% of independents, and 26% of Republicans. Those who support birthright citizenship only if their parents are citizens include 68% of Republicans, 33% of independents, and 16% of Democrats. Generations are somewhat split on the issue as well, with younger respondents generally more supportive of a broad interpretation of birthright citizenship. Among adults under 30, 71% support birthright citizenship for all children, and 20% support it only if their parents are citizens. Among 30 to 44-year-olds, 53% support it for all children, while 36% support it for children of citizens. Among 45 to 64-year-olds, only 38% support birthright citizenship for all children born in the U.S., while 52% support it for children of parents. The trend pulls back among seniors of 65 and older, with 51% supporting birthright citizenship for all children born in the U.S. and 43% supporting it only of children of citizens. Okay, this is actually, hold on. President Trump, when entering office, issued an executive order restricting birthright citizenship for those born in the U.S. to non-citizen parents, leading to concerns on both sides of the political aisle and to a slew of lawsuits and several blocks from federal judges. An appeals court recently also declined the Trump administration's request to partially revive the president's executive order restricting birthright citizenship. The 14th Amendment, which states adopted in 1868, says that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and the state wherein they reside. Still, some GOP lawmakers say it's time to revamp the language, arguing it's been exploited in a way that the amendment framers never anticipated. Well, this is quite an interesting poll, and it's not too surprising, right? The younger you are, the more accepting you are of these immigration status not being relevant to a child's birthright citizenship in the U.S. And then the older you are, the more likely you are to have a problem with it. And if you're a Republican, you're much more inclined. That was what I thought was so interesting, right? That you had 33% of independents were like, yeah, I guess I'm in favor of restricting birthright citizenship, depending on if mommy or daddy were born. We're not legalized here first. And I explained before that it's a very clear-cut circumstance of you have this very normal thing where if someone is born in a country, then they are a citizen automatically. And a lot of these nativist politicians and some of their supporters are making it seem as if there's this grand collusion for people to have babies in the United States after they come here illegally so that they can stay here longer. But the reality is, if you try to change the 14th Amendment or to codify the language or do something else that has to do with changing it from what it was to now be more selective of who gets to be a citizen if they're born here or not, you're going to fall into several complications. One being, if you're no longer a birthright citizen by being born in the U.S., well, where the hell are you a citizen from? Because someone could have a parent who, for example, was born in Russia. Of course, they wouldn't be coming over here, but just as an example. And then they could have another parent who was born in, Mexico. So are they Russian? Are they, a citizen of Mexico? Are we going to have to argue with the courts of these foreign countries to denote that if someone is born here but their parent was born over there, then they're a citizen of that other country? They need to go through some kind of legal barrier to become a. I mean, it is going to be a mess, and that's the kind of stuff that happens when you just don't really think about. Okay, I don't like that people who have parents that weren't born here are becoming citizens. I know, I'll say it should be illegal. But that is what we would get if they were to be able to implement this, a series of complications that would make for issues with other, but potentially with other regions and other parts of the world. Because as far as I can tell, there's no country that's gonna be like, oh yeah, this person that was born somewhere else, they're a citizen because their dad or their mom was born here. So yeah, it's interesting. I always, because younger people tend to be more left leaning than older people. But isn't it kind of sad that there's like a solid fifth of people of like voters under 30, or I guess it's, the people they polled under 30, who are just like, oh, somebody was born here, and they've been going to school like I have, working like I have, have lived here their whole lives in some cases like I have. Oh, their parents were not born here. Well, they need to be a citizen of somewhere else and possibly subject to deportation. It's really rotten. But I do like the idea of like, your parents don't have papers, so we should treat you like you don't have them. It's like, of course the kid didn't have papers. They didn't exist when their parent came over here. Man, it's just so crazy to think that a lot of these politicians are lawyers, and they went to these Ivy League schools, and they can't figure out that there's going to be a slew of consequences if they're ever able to successfully repeal or amend the 14th Amendment. They really can't figure out that there's going to be some kind of barrier in terms of implementing a change to language that has been on the books for over 150 years. That's something that only I and a few other people can see, apparently. It's wild. But it's nice to see that most people, most independents, most Democrats, it was almost 80% of Democrats, wow, support just leaving things as they are with regard to that. There are a lot of things in the U.S. that need to be changed. All these goddamn guns blowing people's brains out every day. The lack of jobs, these stagnant wages that haven't been raised nationally in over 15 years. Again, a lot of a lot of things that need to be fixed. Housing cost, but sitting here and getting and crying about this person was born here, but they shouldn't be legal because mommy and daddy aren't, is not one of them.